Boruto 2 Blue Vortex Chapter 22 shows Jura going after Boruto to kill him, and he also asks him who's his accomplice. How does he know so much about the Shinju? How does he know about the thorn bulbs, even though they've just awakened? And clearly he's asking about who's your accomplice, who's Kashin Koji, tell us where he is and how we can stop him and find him and all that stuff. And Boruto just doesn't give up Kashin Koji for a good reason. But I have to wonder, what happens if Kashin Koji reveals himself? Kashin Koji, I assume, obviously dies, and then the worst future possibly happens. But I don't know how much longer Kashin Koji can stay in the shadows for. I don't know how much longer he can go on in this fight, and this fight against the Shinju, and avoid them completely for the rest of the whole series, the whole chapters that are coming up. It kind of feels inevitable that he's eventually going to be found out, people are going to figure out who he is and all that stuff, but I think it's more so of a... I think it should more so be him revealing himself when the time comes, rather than be a surprise attack or a moment where, quote unquote, the Shinju find him and kill him themselves. You know what I mean? I think it has to happen in a way that he no longer is of service to the story. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's maybe close to the end where Kawaki and Boruto are fighting each other, I guess, but then again, you have to think to yourself, like, okay, we already kind of have an idea of, like, how bad the village gets. We don't know if Kashin Koji dies. And there are kind of some speculations about, like, what could have happened to him or, like, what will happen to him, right? Maybe Kawaki, after learning of his existence, kills him, or maybe Amado does. We don't know the full story or, like, what's going to happen with him specifically. But I do have to think to myself that, like, his purpose was to die fighting the Otsutsuki, fighting Jigen, fighting Ishiki Otsutsuki. So, maybe he'll sacrifice himself again in the great battle, Well, we don't know. But in this current moment in time, what's the worst that happens with him revealing himself? Well, obviously he dies, and then he can't lead everybody to the best possible future. So he has to remain hidden for now. But when would be the right time? Maybe in the closest of circumstances where everybody's all fighting each other and amped up and strong enough to handle them, I think might be the best case scenario in which he would reveal himself. That, or it's just inevitable that he'll be found out, so he has to play his cards right in the best way possible to fight them, I guess. Maybe Kashin Koji will be the one to explain the Otsutsukis, or Shibai Otsutsuki to the Shinju. Maybe they'll have some questions about his existence, or like how he's watching them all now, or what he's planning, or what's going to happen with him. Something like that. You don't really know, but it's kind of an idea that could happen, I guess. I don't want Kashin Koji to kind of... I don't want him to, like, appear like he's just holding back for the sake of just staying anonymous. I really hope that there's obviously there's a reason to it, but I just want to know more details about, like, maybe some of the things that he knows about himself, or maybe he can't see his own future. So maybe he can see, like, the future of everything coming on ahead, like he did when he was about to die. But maybe he can see, like, bits and pieces of his life, or maybe he can only see other people's futures going forward, I guess. And if he's a part of it, so be it. If not, then whatever, I guess. We'll have to see. But as the future changes every so often because of his involvement in getting Boruto and Ada and everybody on his side, now it feels like the time to kind of, like, everything's starting to unravel and change the future and whatnot. So I guess we'll have to see. But until then, I think that Kashin Koji staying low for now is a good idea, and waiting for maybe some backup from Kawaki, or, if he does reveal himself, hopefully he'll have a way to get out of it, or it's gonna happen anyway, so join the battle and help Boruto, right? Because he cares. Maybe it'll be an emotional attachment. He's like, Boruto is necessary for the future, but over this past year, learning from him or like watching him go after his goals and like care for his companions, maybe I'll do the same for Boruto. Maybe, just maybe. We don't know. But that would be a cool way to go against like his basic like ideology or programming, I guess, from Amado, is his ability to be human for once, or choose his emotions or his feeling rather than thinking logically or smart, you know? Maybe that'll be a cool version of him that'll happen. Something that he'll defy. It'll cost the Earth, or it'll cost them greatly in the grand scheme of things, but he does it because he cares and he wants Boruto to succeed in his goals, I guess. Maybe, just maybe. But we won't know until then. So, anyways, thank you guys so much for listening. Yeah,